This video is brought to you by Squarespace. How's it going, everybody? ChaoticMeatball here, and welcome back to the channel. So today it's time for the first video on the channel for the new year, and I think going back to the first generation of Pokemon feels quite appropriate for the occasion. You don't really see too many hardcore monotype Nuzlockes of Generation 1 and 2 games, so I figured, hey, why not? So here we are, using grass types in Pokemon Blue version. The rules are on screen and in the description, and if you're enjoying the content, I'd appreciate it if you could do two quick things for me. Leave a comment down below predicting how many attempts it'll take for me to win this challenge, and if you want, include how many losses I'll suffer. And of course, before we get into the run, I want to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, Squarespace. I recently talked about Squarespace in my last video, where I described how you could make your own website for plenty of different reasons, like building an online presence or running a business, but I'd like to talk about some of the features that come with using Squarespace over other website creation tools or even coding it yourself. Squarespace has some of the best pre-made layouts that are adjustable, already pre-coded to function with just a few clicks, allowing for the insertion of your own images and videos. They're even optimized for PC, tablet, and mobile displays, so you won't have to look far to ensure that everyone can get a look at what you have to offer. They also have a ton of design tools to truly make a site your own, from simple choices like your fonts and colors to more complex stylings like your headers, footers, page spacing, and margins. There's plenty to delve into when you're making your own website. And to top it all off, even though there's plenty of options to choose from, you can make your own site in a very short amount of time. I created one for this channel, only taking around a half hour to insert new pages, choose images and videos, my fonts and colors, and everything else. So if you want to put together a website of your own, head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/meatball to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thanks once again to Squarespace for sponsoring this video, and with that said, let's get into the game. So, Red and Blue has a limited pool of Pokemon. Of course it does, it only has 151 of them, and 5 of them are legendaries. However, only 5 of them happen to be grass types. We're looking at Venusaur, Parasect, Victreebel, or Vileplume if you're playing Red version, Executor, and Tangela. Not necessarily the biggest or best lineup, but with subtypings like Poison, Bug, and Psychic, I think I'll still have a good amount of diverse coverage to keep up with a more simplistic game like this, but not having a full party is kinda rough. Thankfully, we start off the run with Bulbasaur, so no need to change our starter or anything, but we won't get a second Pokemon until after the first gym. Our rival is pretty simple to take down, just spamming Tackle despite our rival's insistence that Growl is the best move in the game, getting him down with just under half health remaining, leading to our first grinding session. See, Generations 1 and 2 take a different approach to the modern effort and individual value system. Rather than EVs, we get stat experience, maxing out at 65,535 points per stat. Sure, sounds like a lot, but when you get stat experience in every stat from every Pokemon, this is the best way we ensure we max out on them as soon as possible, and that's by fighting exclusively level 2 Pokemon, as the stat EXP doesn't change despite a Pokemon's level. There's also only a single required battle before Brock's Gym, so I can just sit here on Route 1, grounding on level 2 Rattatas and Pidgeys, bringing Bulbasaur all the way up to level 13 before moving onward. I whipped a level 9 Weedle to shreds before arriving in Pewter City, and thankfully, rock types are super easy for my grass type Bulbasaur to take care of, especially because it has Vine Whip. One Vine Whip each on Brock's Geodude and Onix is enough to seal the deal on our first badge, allowing me to move onward. There's only a few required trainers on Route 3 before I can get into Mount Moon, the home of Paris. And thankfully for me, there's only 2 required battles between here and the next gym leader in Misty, but I won't be able to go back to Route 1 if I continue past Mount Moon, so backtracking and letting the now evolved Ivysaur and Paris wail away on these level 2 small fry is the best thing I can do to obtain an advantage over boss trainers this early on, especially with this small of a team. I trained both to level 19 before heading back to Celadon City, taking on Misty immediately after. Sure, the level cap is level 21, but I don't exactly have the biggest window between Misty and Surge's level cap, jumping from 21 only to 24, so I'll have to be conservative about my EXP. She leads off with Staryu, an easy one-shot with Ivysaur's Vine Whip, leaving just Starmie. Thankfully, this isn't Fire Red and Leaf Green, so she doesn't have a super effective Psychic-type move, forcing her into Tackle as 3 Vine Whips and a Leech Seed is enough to take the double-sided Starfish thing out, winning me yet another badge. Not too bad at all, but immediately north on Nugget Bridge is our second rival battle, and he's not too hard either. Despite having a type advantage with 2 of his 4 Pokemon, his lead Pidgeotto only has normal moves, so I go with Paris, taking a normal type Gust and Quick Attack as I connect with 2 scratches. A third scratch connects as Pidgeotto misses, with the last move being Sand Attack, though a 4th scratch is able to connect through it, KOing and leading to Abra. This only has Teleport, so I just sit in and KO with Leech Life, bringing Paris back to full HP as Rattata's out third. I figured paralyzing this thing would be a good move, but we kinda just sit here and stare at each other for 3 turns, as I miss with Stun Spore 3 times in a row, and he uses Tail Whip, missing 2 and landing 1 of them, before going for Quick Attack and I miss with a 4th Stun Spore. Well, I guess Sand Attack does matter, so I swapped into Ivysaur, grabbing a quick KO with Vine Whip and leaving just Charmander. Despite having Ember, this is a pretty simple matchup, as Leech Seed is a great tool to continue picking up residual damage, as well as slightly increase my own HP, though it doesn't do much in the face of Ivysaur picking up 2 critical tackles in a row to KO Charmander and win me the fight. Well, that's pretty good, I guess, but there's plenty of room for me to take out the Nugget Bridge and Route 25 trainers, capturing a Bellsprout on the way to use as an EXP sink for the second half of the required trainers. This leads me to Bill's SS ticket and yet another rival battle before I can continue to the third gym. Now, Blue's got a level 19 Pidgeotto this time, but thanks to my newly evolved Weepinbell and broken Gen 1 Wrap mechanics, I'm able to destroy it in no time, only taking a single quick attack between wraps for light damage before the bird of prey gets preyed upon, leading to Raticate. This should technically be more threatening as a fully evolved normal type this early on, but Weepinbell's able to just hit 2 Vine Whips to KO, taking a Hyper Fang that only does slightly over a 4th. That's pretty abysmal if you ask me, so Cadabra takes its place, going down to a single 3-hit wrap as Charmeleon's out last. Swapping into Ivysaur and getting Leech Seed, misclicking, and then Poison Powder setup is my best bet, which I do, getting taken all the way down to 5 HP before swapping into Weepinbell in the hopes to lock it into Wrap. This ends up working perfectly, as Poison and Leech Seed damage do enough in tandem with Wrap to pick up the KO after a few turns, winning me the battle. Well, I'm certain that these rival battles are going to become a little bit more nasty later on once Pidgeotto gets an actual Flying-type move, Cadabra evolves and gets an actually usable Psychic-type move, and Charmeleon evolves and gets an actually usable Fire-type move, but that at least won't be for a little while after we get the 4th party member. As for gym badges though, I'm finally able to jump into Lieutenant Surge's gym, and thanks to the level cap being 24, Paris has now evolved into Parasect, and it was able to learn the TM for Dig that I got back in Celadon City. This makes for an insanely quick sweep, as Dig takes out Voltorb and Pikachu with only a single Screech landing from the former, leaving just Raichu to fall to a single Dig after outspeeding and hitting a very light Thunder Shock. Hilariously, Parasect is probably my best physical attacker out of the bunch, seeing as Bug, Ground, and Normal are physical types in this generation, leaving things like Leech Life, Dig, and Scratch, and eventually Slash to hit pretty hard for this point. One annoying rock tunnel section later, and Celadon City's next on the docket. And while you think that Grass would be annoying to deal with thanks to having a Grass-type team, Grass, and by most extension of them being Poison or Psychic-type as well, are all weak to Bug in this generation. Of course, Poison was changed in Generation 2, but here we're hitting most things for quad-effective damage thanks to Parasect. One quick grinding session for stat EXP later, and Erica's leading off with Victory Bell, landing Poison Powder and Wrap in combination after Leech Life does a ton of damage to it, locking Parasect into near death, but thankfully Gen 1 is held together by a Spit and a Wish, so I'm able to swap out even though I'm in Wrap, going into Weepinbell and finishing it off with my own Wrap, leading to Tangela. This is far underleveled compared to the other 2 members of Erica's team, so this is effectively finished off thanks to Wrap, no damage included, leaving just Vileplume. Wrap once again outspeeds the big bad flower, allowing for Weepinbell to just continue sitting here undamaged, eventually KOing Vileplume for free, even through a Super Potion, winning me the fight. This move is unfair. Let me tell you, this is the dumbest move in existence, and honestly makes me curious who decided that playing Pokemon in a competitive battling sense was a good idea back in the day. Because you better have Gengar on your team or Wrap is an FTK. I can't say anything more. Now that my level cap has severely increased from 29 to 43 for both Koga and Sabrina, it's time to take out a few more boss trainers before maxing out the stat experience on my current Pokemon. Believe me, that takes so much time when the Pokemon you're KOing only yield about 50-ish per battle in all stats, and you need 65,535 points to max out. Don't try this at home without speed up, kids. You might lose your childhood to this endeavor. Anyway, big bad boss man Giovanni's here to try to ruin my fun, but he's an idiot who owes me money and has rock and ground types, being an easy sweep thanks to Ivysaur's Vine Whip, KOing both Rhyhorn and Onix as I get the level up to level 30, replacing it with Razor Leaf as Kangaskhan takes the field. You'd think that this thing could hit harder than it does, but Comet Punch and Rage are pitifully weak moves, allowing for a 2-shot with Razor Leaf to KO, and do what the Halo series has been meaning to do for over a decade now, finish the fight. Man, you remember when that was the tagline for Halo 3? Hard to believe that was 15 years ago now. Anyway, rival time again, and thankfully nothing's evolved that necessarily is a threat, so this fight's rather free. Weepinbell is my choice of lead against his Pidgeotto, KOing for free with Wrap as Execute's out second, going down to a single Acid. Gyarados is out third, whom I've put to sleep with Sleep Powder before locking it into Wrap, KOing once again for no damage as Cadabra's out fourth. Poison is physical in this generation, so Acid is an easy one-shot KO, leaving just Charmeleon. Now, Weepinbell is just a house, outspeeding and hitting Wrap to lock Charmeleon into place, doing over half with the first as a potion comes in the middle of the second, but a third Wrap connects and KOs Charmeleon after a few more turns, giving me the flawless victory. But not the fatality since that happened last fight. Sorry, Raticate. Anyway, Pokemon Tower leaves no challenge to me, though I guess it decided to give my computer a challenge when it crashed in the middle of recording. Gotta love technology sometimes. Either way, those are the two bosses I wanted to take down before doing the whole stat EXP collection thing, since they were really weak in comparison to the rest of them in this section. And upon taking the bike down to Fuchsia City and grabbing Execute from the Safari Zone, I am ready for the grind ahead. I decided to record one of these sessions on 10 times speed, showing just how long it takes to clean out the power points of the team once, but also showing how tedious this system is in comparison to the modern EV system we have now. We take it for granted, really. We've been spoiled by bottle caps, golden bottle caps, vitamins being unlimited so we can use 25 of them in a single stat instead of being restricted to only 10 of them, being usable before they won't work anymore and you have to finish the EVs manually. It's very appreciated that it was changed. After finishing that up, though, maxing out my entire party and evolving a few things like Ivysaur and Weepinbell now that it's learned Razor Leaf at level 38, I can finally go and challenge Koga. Sure, a level cap of 43 may be intimidating, but thanks to Execute being able to learn the TM for Psychic from Celadon City, I'm pretty much guaranteed to win, barring a 1 in 256 glitch into a critical poison type attack or something stupid like that. Koga's pretty much as I drew it up though, as Execute KOs Coughing with Psychic, Muck with 2 Psychics after he wastes an X attack on it, Coughing number 2 same as the first, leaving just Wheezing, falling to 2 Psychics after he wastes an X attack on it. Well, you probably should have just attacked there, you moron. You might actually KO'd in 2 shots between Muck and Wheezing. Thanks for making this a much easier fight than it needed to be. Heading back to Celadon City, it's time for the doubleheader of Sylph Company, and oh boy, this is where rival battles start getting stressful. Pidgeot, Alakazam, and Charizard are all here and packing some pretty nasty stats. Not very many nasty moves, but I'll still have to be careful either way. I decided to lead with Victory Bell here, since it outspeeds Pidgeot. I figured I'd try to cheese this with Wrap, though I did miss one of them, leading to a light wing attack landing before I managed to KO it with a few more Wraps. Execute's out second, and it falls to a critical Acid, with Gyarados being the follow-up. I debated a bit between Wrap and Razor Leaf for damage, but I decided on the former, hitting 2 of them and taking Gyarados down to below half as the third misses and he gets a Leer off. Well, that's nothing too crazy, so I go for Wrap once again, this time landing a 5-turn Wrap that KOs, leaving just Alakazam and Charizard. The former ends up taking the field, but Acid is physical, so I just used that twice, taking a pretty big Psybeam before KOing. A bit worrisome to say the least, since Charizard's out next and I gotta swap if I intend on keeping Victory Bell alive, so I do so into the Venusaur, landing Leech Seed as I keep seeing Ember come out. Still don't know why he doesn't have Flamethrower yet, but I'm completely fine with that as I'm able to hit Poison Powder on top of it, though Venusaur's out of the fight for the rest of this. I've got Execute and Parasect left, and the latter is not coming into this fight unless absolutely necessary, so I swap into Execute, taking 2 Embers before I can land a Psychic. Unfortunately, Ember is doing enough to 4-shot even through Leech Seed, so I have to risk a critical to land one more Psychic for the KO, and fortunately I'm not punished, taking out Charizard and living to fight another day. Alright, at least we have a bit of a reprieve now before Blaine gets the chance to rip me a new one, but Sabrina and Giovanni come first. Giovanni is a money launderer, and a pretty easy fight to take care of though, thanks to Execute having Psychic. I'm able to one-shot his Nidorino, leading to Kangaskhan. Hypnosis lands and allows me to Leech Seed and Psychic to get back at full HP, KOing with Barrage as Rhyhorn comes out, falls to a Psychic, and leaves just Nidoqueen. Now it's a rather bulky Pokemon, so Psychic doesn't one-shot. Though Giovanni decides to use some of that laundered money on a guard spec, wasting his turn and allowing me to pick up the victory. Get out of here, bud. Maybe go return that laundered money. Before challenging Sabrina, though, I made sure to grab the TM for Hyper Beam from the Celadon Game Corner, giving it to Victory Bell and replacing Acid. And while yes, it does suck to lose out on a stab physical move, Hyper Beam just does so much in tandem with Wrap, so it's not even a question. Seeing as Gen 1 mechanics allow for a Pokemon that KOs something with Hyper Beam to not take a recharge turn, giving me an essentially free 150 power move. It's not relevant in the fight against Sabrina, but I figured I'd bring it up nonetheless. She leads off with Cadabra, so I go with Parasect, using Slash to KO immediately, doing the same to Mr. Mime next turn as Venomoth's in third. I figured Dig would be the best choice here, but it doesn't one-shot as Bug resists ground, making it a neutral attack as Leech Life lands for light damage. I fire off one of my own to recover a bit of that lost HP, leaving just Alakazam after a KO. Fortunately, the combo of Psybeam and Psywave are not nearly powerful enough to Parasect to fear, KOing with 2 Leech Lives and ending the battle. Not too shabby. Guess it pays to have a good super effective typing against Psychic in Gen 1, even though it is complete garbage. Seriously, whoever decided it was a good idea for Leech Life to be the only non-exclusive bug type move in the game, aside from String Shot, is a complete idiot. Twin Needle is exclusive to Beedrill, who becomes rather useless mid-game, and Pin Missile is exclusive to Jolteon. I cannot stress enough how dumb that is! At least we're coming up onto the end of the game. There's very little holding me back from the last 2 gym leaders and the Pokemon League, so let's take care of them rapid fire style. Before that though, of course, right south of Pallet Town is the route that contains my last encounter in Tangela. That's, it's pretty useless all things considered, but I stat trained it completely before taking on Blaine since our level cap is 47, and I have 19 levels to work with, so why not? 1 yes, 3 no's, 1 yes, and 1 no later, and it's time to take on Blaine. He's rather stressful considering my current type and all, but I don't think I'll have too much of a problem thanks to Parasect. He doesn't have Charizard or Moltres, so I'm free to use Dig to take out his Growlithe and Ponyta, with Rapidash coming out third. Unfortunately for me, though, Fire Spin is indeed a nasty move, getting a critical on Parasect, and because it got a critical on the first move, for each attack following, since it's just like Wrap, Bind, or Whirlpool, kind of, it gets a critical again, so after 3 of those, Parasect is almost dead, so at least it's still alive as I swap out, going into my newly evolved Executor, as I finally got it to level 42, learning Solar Beam by level up and not wasting the TM that I got from the Pokemon Mansion, giving me plenty of HP and special stat to work with. Fire Spin is still a dumb move, but Executor is able to outspeed after a 2-hit Fire Spin, locking in Leech Seed as Blaine stupidly uses a Super Potion at full HP. I gotta commend these developers, they really knew how to use Spit and Wish to hold this game together. Hypnosis lands on Rapidash, putting it to sleep and giving me plenty of time to get back to full HP with Leech Seed, KOing with a Solar Beam and Psychic, with Arcanine being the last Pokemon remaining. This is the only thing I'm remotely scared of, but Psychic is pretty easily able to 2-shot it, as Executor dodges a Fire Blast and net me the win. It was at full HP anyway, so barring a critical, I probably would have been fine, but it's much less stressful to watch a Pokemon dodge something instead of watching for a potential critical. Giovanni straight after this, so I flew back to Viridian and fought his 2 required trainers before getting his level cap of 50 for the fight. He's pretty much a joke at this point though, seeing as Victory Bell can sweep his Rhyhorn and Dugtrio with Razor Leaf, Nidoqueen with Wrap and Hyper Beam doing the same to Nidoking as Giovanni wastes a Guard Spec, leaving just Rhyhorn to fall to another Razor Leaf. I'm telling you, Wrap and Hyper Beam is a stupid combo on a Pokemon with a base 105 physical attack. So, 6 more battles before we finish the game, and we've got that last rival battle before the League. This is pretty similar to the last battle against him in Sylph Company, since I'm starting off with Victory Bell to once again hold down his Pidgeot with Wrap, finishing him off with a Hyper Beam once he's around half HP. Second out is Rhyhorn, an easy KO with Razor Leaf, with Execute coming out third. Wrap and Hyper Beam once again does the trick, as it does to his fourth Pokemon in Gyarados. Alakazam is just a Hyper Beam away from being KO'd, leaving just Charizard. Now, this is of course the only stressful part of his team right now. Despite Victory Bell outspeeding, Wrap does happen to miss once, allowing for Flamethrower to land, though it doesn't even do half, and Victory Bell is able to pull Charizard into the low yellow with Wrap, finishing it off with Hyper Beam to win the fight. Clean sweep with Victory Bell, very appreciated, though once again I must inform you that Gen 1 Wrap is broken. So, preparation for the league. There's not much outside of training to be completely fair, though I did give the TM from Mega Drain to Tangela to make it slightly more useful, as well as Sword Stance to Victory Bell. Other than that though, I'm ready to go in at the level cap of 62. Do you think I'm gonna make it through Deathless? Leave a comment below and let's take them down. Lorelai's an easy start, so I lead with Venusaur against her team, using Razor Leaf to take out Dugong, Cloyster, and Slowbro all in one-shots and outspeeding them as Jinx comes in fourth. Body Slam is a great physical move that I got off of the SS Anne much earlier in the run, and with it I can bring Jinx to near death, so Lorelai wastes a Hyper Potion, letting me KO next turn with an outspeed and a Body Slam, leaving just Lapras to fall to a Razor Leaf. Not bad, easy sweep, can't be disappointed. Second up is Bruno, so I go with Executor in the lead, and since we have Solar Beam for Onix, KOing in one shot after taking a Rage, and Psychic for Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee puts me in a pretty good position. The second Onix goes the same way as the first, with Executor taking a Rage before landing Solar Beam to KO, leaving just Machamp to fall to Psychic. Well, shoot, these fights are breezing by, and Agatha's no different, seeing as Executor is once again the Pokemon of choice, using Psychic to outspeed and KO Gengar, Golbat, Haunter, Arbok, and Gengar number 2, though it does outspeed Executor and use Nightshade for 60 damage. Yep, not disappointed, this is absolutely fantastic so far. However, the first roadblock I'd say in this entire part of the game is Lance, and that's because I can't really hit his Pokemon with super effective damage since, you know, grass types don't exactly get ice moves. So instead, I lead with Victory Bell, going with Wrap to weaken Gyarados, and then set up 2 Sword Stances to perform a Hyper Beam sweep, sans Wrap, though I might use it if needed. Hyper Beam misses Gyarados though, forcing Victory Bell to take one from Gyarados for pretty big damage, though a second Hyper Beam does manage to grab the KO, doing the same to both Dragonairs as Aerodactyl is out fourth. This thing has no flying type moves, so I figured I'd just go for Razor Leaf in the attempt to get this thing down, but it outspeeds and nails Supersonic, and of course Victory Bell has to KO itself in Confusion thanks to those Sword Stance boosts. Well, should have played around it, but still that was pretty unlucky, as is tradition at the end of most of these Monotype runs. Thankfully, Venusaur is able to come in, hitting back-to-back criticals with Razor Leaf to KO Aerodactyl, leaving just Dragonite. And due to Gen 1 AI, Lance is considered a smart trainer, using a super effective Psychic attack against my Poison type. Makes sense, right? Well, not when the move is frickin' Agility. I just spam Body Slam until the thing goes down, winning me the fight. Really disappointed that the random boon from Aerodactyl just so happened to be Supersonic, and that it just so happened to land, and that it just so happened that Victory Bell hit itself while +4 physical attack thanks to Sword Stance. I can't help but complain, it's in my nature. Either way, last fight is against the champion, once again our rival, and despite the fact that I'm going at a 4-6 disadvantage, Tangela still has Bind, so I'm not completely out of my signature stall tactics just yet. He leads with Pidgeot, so I go for Tangela, nailing Sleep Powder after taking a Wing Attack, then setting up 3 Growths, leading to him waking up and using Mirror Move, taking one of my Growths. Not exactly a problem, since Pidgeot doesn't have a special attack, since I just put him to sleep again, getting off 2 more Growths, and then going into Bind. Sure, I'd take another Wing Attack, but eventually I'm able to finish off Pidgeot with Mega Drain at the end, leading to Alakazam. This thing does jack all thanks to my special increases, so I just click Wrap, but once it's free, it lands a critical Psychic, barely not KOing Tangela. Shocking, but not at all, so I just go for Mega Drain to finish it off, getting back a bit of HP before Rhydon comes out third. Hey, perfect opportunity to get some healing here, nearly refilling Tangela back to full as Executor comes out fourth. While normally I'd be scared of one of these, it really has nothing better to do than Barrage and Stomp, which is barely doing anything between the turns that I'm holding it down with Bind, letting me eventually finish it off with Mega Drain. Gyarados is his second to last Pokemon, and thankfully 2 + 5 Mega Drains is enough to put Tangela back to nearly full HP, even through a Dragon Rage, leaving just the fiery menace that is Charizard. It has Flamethrower, it has Fire Blast, so I put it to sleep and used Mega Drain on it, getting it down to half HP with 2 of them, then going for Bind in the effort to put Charizard in range for a Mega Drain KO, since it woke up during the Bind turns. Sadly though, I was just 1 turn short, hitting another Mega Drain that put him into Deep Red, leading to a full restore. That's fine, I can just do it again, but apparently not, as Fire Spin locks Tangela into place, getting a critical hit. This forces a few more crits onto Tangela, but once I escape from it, he lands Fire Blast, burning Tangela and putting him back into Fire Spin. Well, I don't want to lose another Pokemon here despite it being the champion, it'll hurt my pride, so I swap into Venusaur to have the ultimate starter showdown. It's Fire Spin versus some half-decent special? It's not quite enough. I decide to sack Venusaur, using Body Slam to get the paralysis on Charizard before falling to the burn, leaving Executor to just come in and finish the job with a Psychic, winning the match and the run. Well, that wasn't bad for one attempt. Losing 2 Pokemon was unfortunate, especially them being so close in the end. I really thought that this was going to be the run that I finally went deathless, but that's basically how these runs go for me. I do very well in the main game and then choke at the end. That's why I don't do speed runs, but I digress. Next time on the channel, I think we'll go ahead and do another mainline title that I haven't touched in a while, and never before in a Nuzlocke setting, but I'll leave that game and type in mystery. Take care, everybody. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, click the bell, tell a friend, and don't spend more than a minute doing that, since if you are, you're taking too long. I want to give a huge shout out to my $5 and above patrons, Justin Dimenstein, Aiden Brannon, Andy, Casper Kirkpatrick, Heimflo, Jacob Johnson, Sean McKay, Zeno, Aaron H., Aaron Ladeau, Austin Rose, Box of Turtles, Cryptic Gamer, Leon Metalg, and Zachary Keever. Thank you guys so much for your support. If you'd like to support as well, you can head over to my Patreon page, link in the description, where for only $1 per month you can get access to stuff like videos early, as well as an exclusive role in my Discord server, link also in the description. Also, shoutouts to Fiery Dance for the thumbnails and layouts. I recently had the channel completely redone in this style, and I think it's really well done. His link will be in the description if you'd like to commission a project. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this, and I'll see you guys next time with another challenge. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you next time.